Welcome to my channel, The Realm of Thought. Due to the systematic thought in Hegel's Encyclopedia of the Philosophical Sciences, his philosophy could be formalized. The formalization originates from Reinhold Oberlurcher's writings on the new German idealism. This book is only available in German. At first glance, formalizing a philosophical thought within a specially constructed conceptual script may seem alien to many. However, this formalization is not intended as a substitute for verbal expression, but rather as an instrument to reveal the stringency of the argument, allowing the entire system to be expressed in its most precise form. The underlying thesis is that a formula is, in fact, the final and most exact form of a thought. This formalization makes it possible, in addition to its verbal articulation, to bring the comprehended thought into intuition. This aids understanding and also facilitates the renewed apprehension of thoughts that have already once been comprehended. This is not about mathematical formulas, nor about replacing thinking with calculation, but rather about the transformation from phonetic script into a conceptual script. This conceptual script is not intended to replace the verbal articulation, but to complement it. The conceptual script leads to an immense condensation and minimization compared to the original formulation. Hegel repeatedly spoke out against formalization. However, it is important to distinguish that what he opposed was not a conceptual script, but rather the formalization understood in his time as the mathematization of thought. In fact, Hegel himself had already begun minimizing his system in the Lesser Logic, the Encyclopedia, and in the even shorter gymnasium edition of the Nuremberg writings. Not at the beginning, but at the end of the logic, he formalized the moments of the concept, universality, particularity, and singularity, into A, B, and E, subsequently combining them into the subjective concept A, B, E, which is no less analytically intuitive than, for example, H2O, the concept of water. Each of its moments is constituted in such a way that, as a conceptual element, it sets each of the other moments as conceptual elements, while simultaneously constituting the whole that they together form, namely the concept ABE.
What the machine represents in material production, namely a means of replacing labor, the formalization of conceptual script represents in the intellectual process. It serves as a cognitive tool in the production of thought, making the entire process more efficient. If there were a law requiring all philosophical texts to include, alongside their textual formulation, a precise formal representation, many publications would disappear simply because argumentative weaknesses would become immediately apparent. If philosophy is to be a science, it must be systematic, comprehensible, and rigorously argued. In the natural sciences, there are clear criteria that separate science from esotericism, whereas in philosophy, this boundary is often blurred. At present, there is no clear distinction between philosophical texts with scientific aspirations and those that are mere essays, rhetoric, ideology, or art. The sharp differentiation between science and literature is frequently absent. Where conceptual precision is lacking, systematic clarity is missing as well. The objection that not everything can be translated into concept script falls short. In the natural sciences, what cannot yet be formalized is often simply insufficiently researched. The same holds for philosophy. Where conceptual precision is not possible, systematic clarity is lacking. The conceptual formula provides a remedy here. It is not a formalism in the Hegelian sense, but rather a tool for fostering genuine scientificity.
Conceptual script remedies this issue. It is a tool for fostering genuine scientific rigor. Through this representation in conceptual script, the entire systematic structure, in all its concepts, becomes analytically visible. Thus, one can always recognize the concept with its conceptual moments, or alternatively, the elementary concept with its conceptual elements.
Here, the term moment is always more appropriate than element. Element denotes a more static aspect, whereas moment emphasizes movement. The term moment derives from Latin and means movement, expressing that the conceptual moments move and develop due to their internal tensions with and within one another, thus designating stages of development.
The problem that the formalization of a philosophical system aims to solve is the intuition of thought. However, this restoration of the intuition of thought can only take place on the basis of a thought that has already been comprehended. Therefore, formalization cannot be opposed to verbal articulation. The formula neither provides an example nor an image of the thought. Rather, it is simply the synthesis of writing and image. Thought, as intuited thought, which was previously comprehended thought, or simply concept, is now nothing other than the intuited concept or formula, represented in conceptual script rather than phonetic script. This phonetic script thus provides a concise, clear, and systematic presentation without imposing an external schema onto the Hegelian system.